Hello, metal militia of the Gauntlet. Today I'm pleased to announce that we will be interviewing Mr. Stephen Pearcy. He'll be on in just a minute. We've got Stephen Pearcy on the line. It's a great pleasure to talk to you, Stephen. You were one of my idols when I was in high school. I'm a 50-year-old man now. I have listened to the Smash record since it was released to the press, and I got to tell you, I love this record. I have not stopped listening to it. It reminds me of summertime, and makes me look forward to spring.
Thank you.
How are the fans reacting to this record?
Very well. It's moving up the rock charts, and we've got some #1 stations airplay, and I just kind of let it do its thing, and we did the best we could. Everybody's getting a great response, and the solo shows start, I believe, the 8th or sometime next month, run through July, and we'll be playing probably 4 or 5 songs.
Okay. Yeah, it's got just great tunes. I mean, and some diversity in it, and catchy, very catchy. I don't know if that's what you were aiming for, but boy, you nailed it. So, do you currently?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No. Well, that was the plan from the start. We wrote so many songs, Eric, my lead guitar player, and myself, and we were writing these songs, and we had so many songs, even the ones we started to record on, a new one would come in the next day from Eric, and I would just say, all right, stop recording, we're moving on this one now. I mean, it became that kind of a process. The best songs were the ones we were always concentrating on.
Cool. Are you getting sick of interviews?
No, it's a pleasure.
Okay. I just noticed that you've had like 3 rounds, and then they came back and said, "Oh, here's another last chance round." I thought maybe getting the same questions over.
This is like riding a bike to me, my friend.
I know. You probably had thousands in your career. I understand. All right, I'm gonna ask you questions. Can you give my friend Christy a shout out? She is smitten with you.
All right. What's her name?
Christy.
Hey, Christy, you're smitten. Now you're rat.
Okay, thanks, man. I know that was cheesy, but what the hell, right?
Hey, never works.
So I have been under the impression for quite a while that you've been mostly the sole writer in your past role with Rat, as well as your solo efforts. Is that not correct?
Well, I wrote the EP, except for Robin and I wrote You Think You're Tough. But I've written a bunch of songs on my own for Rat Records, and co-written with one with, lack of communication. It would be me and Juan, or, Round, Robin and me. And then, it just depended on who had the songs. As far as Rat, Rat is a whole different breed of animal than myself. I get to do different things solo and take different off-ramps, and with Rat, it's a totally different machine. We all write, and it takes all of us to make that kind of a music. With my solo stuff, I either write it or lately, especially on Smash, my lead guitar player Evan Frantinos is just brilliant with coming up with these songs, and he'd even swing me a title like Rain, and I'd go, I could do something with that, or 10 Miles Wide.
Oh yeah, I love that song.
So it worked perfectly for what we were trying to achieve here.
And I love the Rain the chorus line of Rain, the way you howl it out, it gets sort of howled out.
Yeah, I wrote that song for my daughter, you know, and this record goes all over the place. I'm glad I put the lyrics in there. It'll probably be the last time. It's the only second time in my career I've ever put lyrics, but with Smash, I touch on so many subjects that are, you know, people probably wouldn't understand. You're going to need an old Western slang dictionary to figure out, hit me with a bullet, you know, and other stuff. I'm talking Interstellar, I'm talking Underworld, I'm talking Eyes Wide Shut, I'm talking people who just look straight ahead, not above ground, you know. I mean, I go all over the place, you know.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I haven't begun to dissect the lyrics yet. I'm still just really into the music. I mean, so I sit here all day, right? And I reviewed everything from I guess you could call it LA metal all the way to black metal, right? And there's probably 1 million death metal bands.
Yeah.
And I get, and I'm not the only one who says this, but it's like you get to start feeling like it's sounding very similar, and you get sort of burned out on it, and then you go, God, I need a palate cleanser, and I'll just. But this one goes just. It's always playing. I even go to bed with it on, so it sort of kind of cheers me up, right? You know.
Yeah, that genre. No disrespect to that genre, the real dark stuff is for another mindset. But you know, they could use lyric sheets. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, they could use. I mean, it's like, don't you want to stand out amongst the death metal crew? I mean, and I don't mean just switching to straight vocals and throwing a pop metal song in between, right? I mean,
Sure.
yeah, I'm talking about, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about, but
I don't either sometimes.
it's one of those things where, you know, when things get to be so saturated, it's, you know, it's just about ready to collapse. And
well, you know, that's what happened. That's what happened with, you know, nobody killed rock and roll. I don't know who started this ridiculous mannequin fad, but look, music is music. You know, 70s were 70s, 60s were 60s, 80s. In the 80s, it was wide open. I mean, you had Cyndi Lauper, you had Rat, you had Van Halen, you had Motley, you had Jackson. You had such a diversity. I mean, Rat would be doing shows with, you know, Oingo in Berlin and Huey Lewis, and nobody gave a shit. You know, it was just music was music. It was probably the freest genre or decade, you know, and of decadence. You know, that it doesn't exist in every genre of music or decade, but it was the freest to me, and it could never be repeated. And what happened in our situation in the 80s, everybody was looking for the new Motleys, the Rats, the Quiet Riot was late 70s actually, but if it wasn't for Van Halen kicking everybody in the ass in 77, 78, you wouldn't have had some 80s bands. And also, it did get oversaturated, but hey, you know what? The strong survived. Some bands good came out of this, that oversaturation, but then it got labeled hair metal, and then it's like, come on, everybody has long hair. What does that mean? You know, you don't have to necessarily, you know, change your image for that. But then you had the 90s, which was like, you know, you couldn't tell who was a roadie and who was a musician, and everybody was depressed, and, you know, so, you know, here's a bag of smack, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
You know, and nowadays it's starting to open up again. People, you know, in our genre, per se, and it's unbelievable that 33 years later, you know, Rat or you know, some of those bands, that people want to hear it is I didn't lose my respect and my love for Aerosmith in the 70s or Zeppelin or Blue Oyster Cult. Well, it's the same.
Right.
But, you know, it was colorful, it was dangerous, it was exciting, you know, it was new, it was fun, and you know, that'll never go away. You know, that's why the pleasure to still get out there, and I call it yelling at people. I mean, I have a great time still. I just go, man, this is crazy. It could be hundreds of people, it could be thousands, it could be 30,000. I still feel the same way. You know, I'm out there, I'm having a great time. You know, and you know, that's what it's all about. You know.
Absolutely. That's a good philosophy, and I've never heard anyone really say it that way before. But let me ask this: was there a time in your childhood when you had a moment where you said, "This is what I'm going to do with my life"?
Yeah, and I was supposed to be racing top fuel dragsters at age 18 or 17 when I got in an accident, and it's in my book, you know, and I broke both legs, and they said, well, you know, while I was in the hospital for about 5 months, they said, you're not going to be racing cars. And I was a pit crew guy. I didn't have a care about music. I listened to it. I thought Alice Cooper was a chick, you know. Yeah, and somebody gave me an acoustic guitar, and the most oddest thing happened. I just started writing my own songs from day one. Day one, I just went, I don't know what's going on here, but I like guitars, and started playing guitar, writing my own songs, got into music, actually was able to see the real Led Zeppelin a few times, and then I went, oh my God, this is crazy. You know, started my band, kept writing, and then, you know, in 78, I meet Van Halen. Well, forget about it. It was over then.
Yeah.
I moved to LA, and then, you know, so and then in the late 70s, you know, I wanted to be a guitar player. I didn't want to sing. And somebody in a band, you know, they needed a singer, and they go, hey, can you sing? And I said, I guess. And I just started singing. You know, I don't know. It just happened. You know?
That's crazy. I'm going to talk to you about the drag racing, but one of the things that I thought of is, you know, in the Rat Crew Van Halen era, the audience was much more. Right now, metal audiences are 90% male, 10% female, and it seems like they were more half and half back then. And
well, yeah, you know, I got to interrupt you. And that was our objective back then, because in '81, when we used to hang out with Motley in the streets, you know, and nobody was really big or doing anything, we were all just getting going. We used to hang out, and what Robin and I noticed was everybody was all leather and studs, and we didn't want to go that way, you know. So we decided, hey, we want some females in the audience. But I don't agree. Nowadays, there's still, you know, there's still a lot of, you know, girls out there that want to rock, you know. Don't
yeah.
yourself.
Well, there are, but if you go to like a black metal show,
oh yeah, forget about it.
Forget about it. It's there are girls out there, but you can't tell.
Yeah, I mean, there's some lead singer black metal bands, you know, too. And, you know, I don't put down that music, to each his own, you know.
Right. Neither do I.
But nowadays, anything goes. And then I also have to say, you know, I was one of the first people who heard Guns N' Roses cassette before they just released it, and I knew there was a change coming, you know.
Well, that was pretty prescient. I did not feel that way at first. I thought it doesn't sound right. You know, I didn't get it at first, but you were certainly right there. Okay, so you've actually driven a top fueler.
No, I've never really had the opportunity. I've sponsored many cars, and I got into sponsoring the Top Fuel cars. I'm actually going to a race coming up soon before this first rat gig, and I sponsor cars and still have the love of racing, and it's guys. Nowadays the guys driving those cars, they're young, and the retinas don't fly back in their head. Guys my age.
Yeah, I mean 3.5 to 4 seconds is like it's over.
Yeah, well, you're doing like 300, almost 350 miles an hour in low 4.5 seconds. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
How did you get into that? Did you have? I mean, how does someone get into professional racing of any kind?
It's either family oriented or you have the drive that you work for. Most of these young drivers, they start out as pit crew guys like I did. And you work long enough and you learn enough, and then you get the opportunity. You go to a race pool. I've been to, I've raced IMSA cars. I've raced other cars, and I've also not raced. I've driven a sprint car, but it's just not my cup of tea. Mine's drag racing, and I'm sure I can get into any car right now and do about 200, but get my head shaken off, but I'd rather just be in the back and stand there on the starting line and put my logos on it, do some marketing deals. That's what I do.
Cool. Yeah, that's a very high energy sport. I mean, when you go to a drag race, you can just feel your chest sort of pounding from the noise of the top fuelers from the engines, and it's like.
That's why I've never worn earplugs and pretty much never used monitors, even in arenas, is because the louder the better. Drag racing to me is like rock and roll. Dangerous, colorful, exciting.
Absolutely. I get the same sort of hair in the back of my neck standing up kind of thing.
It's like country is an asphalt.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a long list of achievements ranging from inventions to authorship to writing television, and so you're sort of a renaissance man, I guess. What is your favorite pastime?
Music is what I do. Everywhere you go in my office or home, there's a guitar or an amp or acoustics, and I just pick them up every day. It's like today I've decided I want to play some acoustic guitar, and so it depends, and if I feel creative, then I'll get the pen and paper and try to do something, or I'll work on marketing deals. It's just keeping busy. I'm in a much more sober environment these days, so to keep me going, I've been hyper since I've been a child. I've been hyperactive, so whatever keeps me going.
Sure.
Now it's whatever keeps me out of trouble.
Sure. When you describe keeping you out of trouble, can you elaborate on that a little bit? Or would you prefer not to?
Well, come on, look, we helped establish the decade of decadence in the 80s, and
sure.
Unfortunately lost my guitar player, Robin, because of it, and eventually, if you've got that kind of situation going, you got to nip it in the bud,
Yeah, or you're gonna. Yeah, I understand.
So a lot of people have figured it out. Some have and some haven't. But it depends on what your DOC was, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's the survivors, and then there's the casualties.
Yeah, and it's, I don't dwell on it. I don't preach on it. I just put myself in a better, put it this way, Smash was recorded in the best environment possible. That's why it was so creative, and we got to be so creative, and we ended up producing it ourselves. Eric and I just went to town with the writing, and Bo Hill, rap producer, produced the first song we recorded, I Can't Take It. And we just went, oh shit, here's our schematic. We've got to stand up to this, And we did,
Absolutely. It's I can't say enough good about it. All right, so let me ask you a few questions you may not have gotten from other people, or maybe you did. What is the most extreme thing a fan has done to get your attention? Okay, if you don't want to answer that, you don't have to.
I think they should get my book.
Okay, let me do.
Rat and Roll.
Everybody, you heard it. Get the book, Rat and Roll, and I'm sure we read it.
Sex, drugs, and Rat and Roll. My next book I'm going to start on at the end of next year. It's been a few years. It won't have a lot of that nonsense in it, but it'll have some good stuff. I just had to, some of the stuff I couldn't even put in that book.
I'm sure, yeah.
To get our attention, you didn't have to do much. We asked for it. The door was open. It was like, let's go. We're ready.
Crazy. Okay. You mentioned, I think you mentioned your daughter. You have any other children?
Not that I know of.
Okay. That's a good answer. Do you have a overriding philosophy of life?
Yeah, to each his own, and that's pretty much about it. To each his own, there's no reason for a lot of, nonsense people put on each other, and I'm, I follow politics, but I don't preach it. I don't vote. I am my own president and house, and I just believe in, what you do here is what you're going to get there, down there, or up there at the end of the day,
Yeah, that's a good one. I could learn from that. I've been wrapped around. I've been wrapped around the axle, and all it does is ruin your day. So, where are you originally from?
I'm from Los Angeles. I was born in Long Beach, raised in LA, moved to San Diego from 72 to 1980. After I saw Van Halen in 78, they were just getting out of the clubs, first record done, and they weren't even out of the whiskey yet. And I came back to San Diego, and there's a band up there that is going to blow people's mind, and I'm moving up there January 1, 1980. Who's going to go? And I left.
Fantastic. Okay. What other kinds of music do you listen to besides,
Everything.
What would surprise me the most that you listen to?
There are some bands and some solo artists, female singer artists, and I'm not talking Gaga or any of this rap stuff. I mean, even though I like, Public Enemy and NWA,
Yeah.
I listen to such a diverse style of music. I listen to everything. I want to know what's going on, past, present, and that's it, especially present, because, I can decipher reality from, Memorex in a second,
Sure.
So, yeah, I listen to the craziest stuff you wouldn't, people would think I was nuts, put on anything, you know, and I can dig it.
Cool. Well, let me ask this last question, and then you can get ready for. I'm sure you have another one coming up. But what do you think? Do you have a theory about what happens when you die?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And my opinion is you really don't. This is a shell. What you make of it here is where you take it there. And that's my personal belief. You know, I don't think your spirit continues, I believe, you know, because my religion is one way. It doesn't mean, you know, see, I stay away from religion and politics.
Sure.
But my personal belief, no, I think it's a shell, and you can move on. And when I'm out of here, I'm going to come back and fuck with so many people.
Yeah, my theory is when you die, all your friends that went before you are sitting in a room and they go, "Surprise!"
No, they're actually, a lot of my peers are actually having the biggest jam on the unearthly planets.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I believe.
Well, that's cool, and I appreciate answering some of those bizarre questions, Stephen. You're a gentleman, a scholar, and an artist of extraordinary talent. The new album from Stephen Pearcy, Smash. Gauntleteers, you're going to want to get this record if you don't have it already. Buy media, support the bands. Music is valuable. Stephen, do you have anything else?
Well, you can find out any tour dates, rat-related, solo dates. Smash, it's going to be a Smash Rat and Roll year. The dates are on Stephen-Pearcy.com.
Okay, Stephen. I will send that out with our story when I release this interview, which will be probably in the next 3 or 4 days. And I do thank you very much for your time, Stephen. It's been my pleasure.
And thank you very much. And I do appreciate people that still dig what I've got to go down and what I put down and what we've done. It's a privilege nowadays, you know.
Thank you. All
right,
right,
my friend. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.